Welcome back to the building blog of the Ben Buckle Falcon. The last video I'd completed the right hand wing panel, and now I've made a start on the left hand one, and I've just lifted this wing from the board. And what I'm going to show you now is how I went about setting the correct dihedral for this section. Now the dihedral is 8 inches, so you have to put an 8-inch prop at the wingtip, and I've done that quite simply by super gluing a piece of scrap balsa to an 8-inch on the 8-inch mark of this steel ruler. And now all I have to do is to prop up the wing, and I'm guaranteeing now that that's at 8 inches. And now the task is to make sure that this root rib here is at 90 degrees to the surface, and I've done that using an engineer's square. And basically I fiddled it about. It's quite a neat fit, so it held its position, fiddled it about, and then zapped it with some super glue into the front spars and the rear spars. Now that's set, and once the webbing has been added to the front spars and the rear spars, I can then cut in the diagonal braces, the dihedral braces, sorry, that go front and aft of the spars and will be front and aft into here. So for example, just show you, this one will go in like this, and there's a front one, and then I've actually found it easier to cut the slots out of the ribs once the webbing's been put in. There's a little bit more strength to the structure, and that's how I did the other panel. And then we'll have the makings of a completed wing back when the next part's done. That must be my most hated job in model wing making, and that is the addition of the webbing. It's really important on a wing as big as this. It gives amazing rigidity to the wing, but God, it's so tedious to do. So the webbing's been done, both sides of each set of spars, and immediately the rigidity of the wing's gone up tenfold. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sheet the underside of the trailing edge, and I'll do that by weighing it down and using PVA glue to make sure everything's sitting nice and flat. And when that's done, I'll sheet the leading edge and the trailing edge of the wing. But I'm so glad that's finished. I think it's time for a coffee now. The main structure of the second wing's now complete. All the webbing, not my favourite job, between the spars done, and the diagonal braces have been added. And as I've said when making the first panel, the rigidity of the wing jumps up tenfold when those parts are put in. So the next part is the process of sheeting the upper and lower surfaces of the wing. Lessons were learned on doing the first panel. You can't actually form one piece all the way around the leading edge because of the compound nature of this end. So that has to be done in 3 steps. It makes it a lot easier. So I'm about to do that. When it's done, the last part will be the mating of the 2 wing parts, and we'll see how they fit together. I'm still a little bit undecided regarding putting a bolt in. We'll see how neat the fit is just using the dowels. There's no provision for putting a bolt through the centre section, and I suspect that may be so if you do have a prang, there is a little bit of movement in the wing rather than the thing ripping off. But we'll see. I still haven't made my mind up yet. Welcome back to the build. As you can see, I've had to move locations. The wing's simply too big to show you in the dining area. I can make one panel on the dining room table, but that's the limit. So here we go. The wings have been completed, although they haven't been sanded at all. This is just the finished rough state. You'll notice that there's a piece missing here and here, and that's because I'm still undecided whether I'll have some sort of pin or bolt to lock the two halves together. 4 foot wingspan is manageable as one panel, but together as two panels we're talking about 8 feet. It's a big beast. So let's try it out and see how it fits together. See if we can manage. So it's a dowel, slot and dowel method. Before the days of fiberglass dowels, obviously. So the two come together. It takes a little bit of teasing in. That's it. And I suspect, you know, that it probably wouldn't need a bolt, but there we go. It's a beast of a wingspan, 8 foot in total. It'll be held on actually by rubber bands. I think that's more in keeping with the vintage model. The tail horizontal stabiliser is 3 foot long. Although the fuselage on first inspection doesn't look that big, I'm sure that once it starts to become a 3D model rather than a 2-dimensional plan, that may change. But there you go, it's an extremely strong, robust design. I can't fit it all in. I hope you've enjoyed the journey. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done so. There's lots more building to come. If you can get flying, please do so. If you can't, let's get creative and try a little bit of model making. It doesn't have to be balsa. It can be a foamy. Just give it a go. It adds that much more when you come to actually fly them. So bye for now. Take care. I hope you've enjoyed this part of the build.